Hi, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to Lesson Gems. My name is Brother Lammers. I'm going to be covering the lesson for Monday, October 9th, or the lesson that is labeled Philippians and Colossians. Let's get right into it. This lesson, or the week of this lesson, covers the same theme that was taught to your students in FSY this past summer. So I'll invite you to look at a couple of ways to use that experience if your students had the opportunity to attend FSY this past summer, but also how can we set up this lesson with an awesome structure and then use the curriculum in a great way to help our students grow closer to Jesus Christ. As your students are walking in this entire week, can I invite you to have the 2023 Youth Theme playlist playing in the background? Let me show you where that is located. If you go to your church's website, to thechurchofjesuschrist.org, or your gospel library. So if you're on a laptop, go to libraries, change it to gospel library, and now it's just like you're on your phone. Scroll down to where it says youth, and then once you click on youth, go to youth music, and then go to youth 2023. And the intro song is I Can Do All Things Through Christ. As you're going through this week and as you're meeting students at the door and inviting them in and helping them feel loved and welcomed, have that youth theme in the background. It's going to bring back some great memories if your students had that opportunity to attend FSY this past summer. The intent of the lesson is to help them recognize that through Jesus Christ, they can find strength to do all things. So let's again, what can I do before the lesson begins to help my students to be successful, not only for Monday, but throughout the week? If your students did attend FSY this past summer, invite them to find and bring in their student participant journal, their FSY journal. Send that text or email to parents and students either Saturday or Sunday. So if you get this before the lessons begin, have them do it Sunday night and bring it in Monday morning. We'll talk about maybe a way or two that we can include that throughout the week to bless our students. Next, have the mindset ready to include general conference. And I'll give you an invitation in just a second on how you can do that. So those are just two ways to prepare your students before they arrive, even on Monday. Great lesson activities. I like them a lot, but I love this right here, this contextual paragraph. Can I invite you to use this look for question before you read the contextual paragraph? Use an intent or have an intent for why they're reading this context. That's going to build right into Philippians chapter 4, verse number 13. In Philippians 4:13, I want to take this time right here with this verse and build a structure that will then give me a great place to go forward in the rest of the lesson. Why do you think that this is an important thing to know? That I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me, which is a good question. But the follow-up questions, in my opinion, I think are a little bit better. And these follow-up questions, what does that strength that he's going to strengtheneth me with, what does it look like? How can I invite that into my life? And then how can I try to be that strength for someone else? In the description right here beneath this video, I'm going to include this little Word document. This Word document includes 3 scriptural references that we can build on those 3 questions. Last week, I invited you to use your ABCs, reading verses, looking for or identifying actions, attitudes, and attributes, because that's going to point me to, these 3 things are going to point me to, well, this is why the blessings came, or this is why the consequences came. So let's do that, but with these 3 questions. What does Christ's strength look like, and how can I invite it into my life? In Mosiah chapter 24, this is Alma and his people. They are being oppressed by Amulon and the Lamanites, and I'll read the verses, you know the story, but what does Christ's strength look like? Does he take the affliction away, or how does his love help them? And then what did they do to receive Christ's strength? And a second example that you can use in opposition or in comparison to one another is Alma and Amulek and those who were burned who followed him. What does Christ's strength look like in there? Because then if you go to the book of Daniel with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, very similar situation. They would not deny Jesus Christ, and so therefore they were thrown into a fiery furnace, and yet they lived. So I invite you to compare these 2 stories looking for what does Christ's strength look like in these examples? And how did they invite Christ's strength? as we build that foundation of Philippians 4:13, that through Christ I can do all things because he's going to strengthen me, now I have an idea of what his strength looks like, how I can invite it, and then throughout the rest of this lesson that it's going to invite me to participate in, which is a great, great lesson. I love it. I'm going to use it. But I want my students to focus on how can I try to be a strength or Christ's strength to someone else. The last thing I'd invite you to look at is in the commentary and background, or I should say this section right here. What does it mean that I can do all things through Christ? There's two great quotes from Sister Craig and from President Oakes. Don't miss those two great quotes, which are down in the bottom, to help build, again, this structure for the lesson. I mentioned that using your student participant journal, which looks like this. It's green. I can do all things through Christ. This journal that they used, if they attended FSY this past summer, has many, many examples of the thoughts, ideas, and feelings that they received as they studied not only Philippians 4:13, but other verses and experienced other, just different experiences that they had while they were at FSY. Invite them to go into the notes that they took in their journal to help share experiences on how they were strengthened or what they learned, how the Spirit strengthens. Just using that student participant journal could be a great way to invite the Spirit or to remember awesome spiritual experiences that they had this past summer.